Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Rahul Mohandas and today we'll be dealing with specialized mucosa. What is mucous membrane? Mucous membrane is nothing but it is a moist lining which covers the any body cavity. Any body cavity which is present, it will be lined by a mucous membrane. Okay, so for example, you have a nasal cavity, you have the oral cavity, you have the abdominal cavity. So these are lined by mucous membrane. Oral cavity is lined by oral mucous membrane. The nasal cavity is lined by nasal membrane or nasal mucous membrane or nasal mucosa, and the abdomen is lined by gastric mucosa. Okay. The specified function of mucous membrane is to protect the particular body cavity and whatever structures are present within it. Okay. Similarly, the function of oral mucous membrane is to provide protection and defense against all the pathogens that are present, which are in frequent contact with the outside environment. Okay, so that is the main function of oral mucous membrane. So oral mucous membrane functionally can be classified into three types. Okay, you have the masticatory mucosa, you have the lining mucosa, and something called as specialized mucosa. Masticatory mucosa is the place where you get the maximum friction or the maximum forces are exerted. So masticatory mucosa comprises basically the mucosa of the hard palate and gingiva. Okay, and one important thing to remember is masticatory mucosa will always be lined by keratinized mucosa or keratinized epithelium. Okay, keratinized epithelium or keratin provides the extra cushion or the protection that is needed to counteract the extra amount of forces that are exerted upon the hard palate and gingiva. The next type is lining mucosa. Lining mucosa is present in buccal mucosa, labial mucosa, vestibular fornix or the vestibule, floor of the mouth, and soft palate. So all these five structures of the oral cavity are lined by something called as lining mucosa. An important MCQ that can be asked is lining mucosa is also called as dash. So lining mucosa is also called as reflecting mucosa. Okay, and the third type of mucosa is specialized mucosa. As the name suggests, this particular mucosa has a certain specialized function, and in oral cavity, in case of oral cavity, that specialized function is the perception of taste. Okay, so specialized mucosa, it gives a taste perception to the oral mucous membrane, and as you all know, the taste perception is present in the tongue. So specialized mucosa will be seen on the dorsal mucosa of the tongue, and it includes the papillae and taste buds. Okay, so this specialized mucosa we will see in detail. So specialized mucosa is seen on the dorsal part of tongue, and if you observe the dorsal part of tongue closely, you will understand that the dorsal part of tongue is not at all smooth. Okay, it consists of lot of irregularities. What are these irregularities? These irregularities are nothing but papillae. Okay, papillae are nothing but some outward projections that are present in the dorsal surface of tongue. These papillae are of four types. Okay, there are four types of papillae which are very important to understand. These four types are filiform papillae, fungiform papillae, circumvallate papillae, and foliate papillae. Okay, filiform papillae, fungiform papillae, circumvallate papillae, and foliate papillae. Okay, behind the circumvallate papillae, you have something called as lingual tonsil. So now, where are these papillae located in the tongue? Okay, so first we'll start with filiform papillae. Filiform papillae are nothing but needle-like or thread-like structures which are present. Okay, these are present mostly in the anterior two-third of the tongue. Basically, the anterior two-third of tongue is filled with filiform papillae. Okay, and in between these filiform papillae, you have these mushroom-shaped papillae. Okay, mushroom-shaped papillae which are called as fungiform papillae. Fungiform papillae or fungiform, fungi or fungus is nothing but mushroom, and form is like. So mushroom like papillae. Fungiform papillae which are present in between the filiform papillae. Okay, these are also present on the anterior two-third of the tongue. And if you remember the anatomy of tongue, you remember that the anterior two-third and posterior one-third are separated by a V-shaped structure called as sulcus terminalis. Sulcus terminalis. Okay, and which is present at the level of foramen cecum. So the circumvallate papillae are knob-like structures which are 10 to 12 in number, and they are always present anterior to the they are present anterior to the sulcus terminalis. Okay, so all these papillae which are seen are always present in the anterior two-third of the tongue. Okay, So what happened to the fourth papillae? So the fourth papillae or the foliate papillae are actually vestigial. Okay, they don't have a very great function, and they are not present on the dorsal surface of the tongue. They are present on the lateral part of the tongue. So on the lateral part of the tongue, you will see the foliate papillae as a form of folds. 7 to 11 folds will be present on the lateral border of the tongue, which will be your foliate papillae. Okay. So we'll go into each papillae. So first is the filiform papillae. As I told you, they are needle-like structures which are present on the dorsal part of the tongue. So as you can see, this appears slightly whitish in color. Correct. These are the foliate papillae which are denoted with the letter B. The filiform papillae, sorry, filiform papillae. They are denoted with the letter B and they appear whitish in color. This is because histologically, when you see these papillae, they are needle-like structures with lot of keratin. Okay, lot of keratin. So these are filiform papillae. These needle-like structures are nothing but keratin. Okay, so this is keratinized mucosa. Keratinized mucosa is seen in filiform papillae. Something which is very important to understand, this can come as an MCQ, that which papillae is keratinized completely. So the answer is filiform papillae. Filiform papillae is completely keratinized and it contains needle like projections, and because of these needle like projections it is appearing slightly whitish in color, because it appears white because of the extensive keratinization, and because of this extensive keratinization the underlying connective tissue is masked. Okay, that is why the redness of this mucosa is not seen and only a whitish part is seen because of this extensive keratinization. Some very important clinical consideration to be remembered is the extensive keratinization which is seen in filiform papillae. If it keeps on increasing, it leads to some condition called as hairy leukoplakia. Okay, in case of hairy leukoplakia, what happens? The debridement of these keratin plugs or keratin is not taking place, and because of this keratinization accumulates debris and it appears like a hair. That is why it is called as hairy leukoplakia or black hairy tongue. Okay. Next, going on to fungiform papillae. So as I told, fungiform or mushroom-like papillae. So in between the filiform papillae, you can see some, mushroom-shaped or knob-like structures here, right? These are red in color, okay, and these are your fungiform papillae. So these structures, which are denoted by, C, are your fungiform papillae. Okay, and as you can see here, the difference, these are filiform papillae neighboring, okay, neighboring papillae and filiform papillae, and in between you have the fungiform papillae, which is mushroom shape. And what is the distinct feature is the keratin is very thin here. Okay, sorry, the epithelium is very thin here and it is non-keratinized. Okay, fungiform papillae is completely non-keratinized. Okay, another important thing to remember, distinguishing feature between fungiform papillae and filiform papillae is that fungiform papillae is non-keratinized mucosa, and the epithelium is very thin. Because of the thin epithelium, this papillae appears slightly reddish or pinkish in color. Okay, that is fungiform papillae. One another important thing to remember is taste buds. That is, the specialized mucosa is giving the taste perception because of something called as taste buds. Okay, we will see that in detail in the further part of the presentation. But you have to remember is that these taste buds are absent in case of filiform papillae, completely absent in case of filiform papillae, whereas in case of fungiform papillae, these taste buds are present in the superior portion. Okay, so here you can see something called as a taste pore, and here you will see taste buds on the superior part of the fungiform papillae. Okay, superior part of the fungiform papillae will show taste buds and it is non-keratinized. Okay. Then going on to circumvallate papillae. Circumvallate papillae, as I told you, circumvallate papillae will be seen in the posterior part of the tongue, okay, just ahead of the sulcus terminalis. Okay, there will be 10 to 12 in number, and most important feature of circumvallate papillae is that it contains a cleft. Okay, so as you can see, the mouse is pointing towards the cleft that is present in between this circumvallate papillae. So this cleft will separate the circumvallate papillae from the adjacent oral mucosa. Okay, this cleft is very important. Okay, that distinguishes the circumvallate papillae from your fungiform papillae. Another thing is the superior portion of circumvallate papillae will be keratinized. Okay, the superior portion of your circumvallate papillae will be keratinized, whereas the lateral portion of circumvallate papillae will be non-keratinized. So here you have a mixed kind of a distribution. Superior portion will be keratinized and lateral portion will be non-keratinized. Okay, and in fungiform papillae, the taste bud was present in the superior portion. Okay, whereas in case of your circumvallate papillae, the taste buds will be present on the lateral portion of the papillae. Here you will see abundant taste buds. Lot of taste buds will be present in the lateral portion of the circumvallate papillae. So the most number of taste buds are present in circumvallate papillae. Among all the papillae of tongue, most number of taste buds are present in the circumvallate papillae. Okay. Another important thing here, you can see some minor salivary glands. Okay. These minor salivary glands are serous in nature and they are nothing but your von Ebner glands. Okay. So the ducts of the von Ebner glands open into the cleft of the circumvallate papillae. This is very important because this cleft will contain some debris and this debris will be washed out by the secretions of the von Ebner glands. Okay, the von Ebner gland secretion will be released through the duct into this cleft of the circumvallate papillae, which will wash out all the debris that is accumulated in this cleft. Okay, so this is circumvallate papillae. 10 to 12 in number, contain cleft. Superior portion is keratinized and lateral borders are non-keratinized, and taste buds are present in the lateral portion. Okay. Apart from all these three papillae, you also have foliate papillae, but as I told you, foliate papillae is actually a vestigial kind of a thing. It is again mixed of keratinized and non-keratinized, and it will be seen on the lateral border of the tongue as few folds. Okay, so here these folds as that you can see are nothing but your foliate papillae. Okay. Going on to the taste buds. So as I told you, the taste perception is given by taste buds. Taste buds are nothing but they are barrel shaped structures. As you can see in the first diagram, they are barrel shaped structures which contain many types of cells or many cells, and they contain an opening. Okay, this opening is called as taste pore. It is called as taste pore. Then you have these spindle shaped or ovoid cells which are present, which form the taste bud or the barrel structure in total. Okay, but when you see it under a higher magnification or under an electron microscope, you can identify actually four types of cells. There are four types of cells within a taste bud. Okay, so this is the taste pore, which is the opening, and then you have four types of cells. The first type of cell, which is denoted here in blue color, okay, the first type of cell is also called as the support cell or a glial cell. Support cell or glial cell. Okay, so these the function of the support cell or glial cell is to provide support to the main type of cell. The main type of cell is nothing but the type 2 cell. The type 2 cell is also called as taste cell. Okay, type 2 cell is also called as taste cell. They contain some receptors on the top called as taste hair. Okay, they contain taste hair which will perceive the taste of the food. Okay, so this the anti the receptor will be present on the cell, and the food, when it goes and hits the receptor, that will give the taste perception through the nerve endings which are present on the bottom of the cell. Okay, so all your bitter, sweet, all these taste sensations are felt by the taste cell, which is the type 2 cell, which is denoted in green color. And then you have the third type of cell, which is called as a neuroepithelial cell or transduction type of cell, which will be responsible for the uh, transduction of the nerve impulses or the taste sensation to the taste buds. Okay, so these taste buds are present mainly on the circumvallate papillae, and few of them are present in the superior portion of the uh, fungiform papillae and some on the foliate papillae. Okay, now how the taste is perceived. So there are some regions of taste perception in the tongue. Okay, so the anterior most portion of the tongue is gives a sweet sensation, or a sweet sensation is perceived by the anterior part or tip part of the tongue. Okay, the salt sensation is perceived by the lateral anterolateral part of the tongue, and the sour sensation is found by the posterolateral part of the tongue, whereas the bitter taste sensation is felt by the posterior most part of the tongue and the epiglottis. Okay, so this is how the taste sensation is perceived by each region of the tongue with the help of taste buds, which are present majority in circumvallate papillae and in the fungiform papillae. All right. Yes. So thank you.